Uh, yeah, so without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, I'm gonna quickly share my screen. Yes, there it is. Okay, so let's first dive in understanding what EcoVadis is, right? And what it is, why it exists, and how it works. But before even getting into EcoVadis, because I would like to start with a simple and basic example. I live in Netherlands in Europe, and here, when you go to a supermarket, I think people who live in Europe or within Netherlands, they can relate to what I'm trying to say. When you go to supermarket and when you try to purchase anything, especially eatables like veggies or fruits or any food items, there is always this Nutri score or the Nutri label on the packet. For example, I have blueberries with me. I think you can see it, I guess. And here you can see there is this Nutri score, and it starts from A up until E, right? So A to E, and it's very basic, right? I mean, A being it has a very high nutrition value and it is good for health, and E being bad. So all the food items, eatables, fruits, veggies, meat, different kinds of meat and processed food, packed food, everything. Most of them they have these Nutri-Score labels. I also have another packet here. These are nuts, Trader Joy, and it also has a Nutri-Score which is A. So you can see that blueberries are really good for health, nuts. And then I also have this kip curry salad. It's a spread which you put on your bread, and it is from Albertine. Albertine is one of the supermarket chain here in Netherlands. And this also has a Nutri score, but you can see the Nutri score of this item is a D. So in layman terms, this is not so good for health because it's processed, and the ingredients used in this, you can also find all the ingredients which are used in here. So yeah, and why do we have these Nutri scores on this? Why do we have these Nutri scores as a food label on these food packaging or items? Is because to create the awareness to the consumer or to the person or the to people who are purchasing these items. Because right now you can see that there is this uh, this phase of longevity. People are really focusing on their health, and they've tried to understand what is good for health, what is bad for health, what is processed food, what is unprocessed food, what is whole plant food, green food, good food, bad food, and how it affects your processing system, like, for example, your brain, your heart. I know that we are deviating from the topic because health is not our topic here today. But what I'm basically trying to tell you is, like, take you to a reference, giving you a reference to how these labels are present on these food packaging systems or food packets. In the similar way, you also have these sustainability ratings, which are also given to organizations. For example, if there is a company who has gone through this EcoVadis assessment, we call it, and they have filled in all the questionnaires and blah, blah. We're going to see that what is the mechanism and how they do it. But if there is this company who has gone through this whole workflow, and then at the end of the day, they would get some sort of a rating, the similar rating what we've seen here. Here we've seen the Nutri score from A to E, but there you also have different medals, scores, ratings. You can say a gold, silver, bronze. So it has been divided into different categories. So it's again very straightforward. Gold being the company is doing really good. I mean, silver, I think there are chances to improve. Bronze, that's how the standards and the ratings are. And why do we need this, or why companies are doing it? Again, because like I mentioned, consumers are getting more and more aware of what they want to eat based on the Nutri score because it's easy for them, right? They don't have to look in to all this description which is in the back. They can just quickly look at this label because everyone has got very little time in their life. They just look in the label and then they purchase based on that. Uh, in the same fashion, for example, suppliers or investors or institutions or the end consumers, if there is this, a product which has been manufactured by this XYZ company, if they want to consume it, if they want to invest it, if they want to collaborate with you, They would also look at this rating called EcoVadis rating, because EcoVadis rating is a globally accepted standard. I think worldwide all the organizations are following this, right? It started in the year around 2007. So it has a big history. But in a nutshell, that is what EcoVadis means. Now let's get into the details and see what are the nitty-gritty details we need to know in EcoVadis and how Artemission can also help you with this. So what is EcoVadis, right? Again, it is a global sustainability rating platform. So it rates your organization. So EcoVadis itself is a platform because, if, for example, if I come back here, and if you quickly, check ecovadis.com, then you can already find their website here. So this is the platform we are talking about. So this is an organization, right? And this organization is in 185 plus countries. They have already rated 150K plus companies. 3 million plus companies they have screened, and 250 plus industries they have covered, like hospitality, aviation, manufacturing, logistics, finance, banking, IT, so forth and so on. So this is the platform we are talking about. Okay, so let's get back to our slide deck again. So it's a global sustainability rating platform. It evaluates how companies manage sustainability. So this also does an evaluation, and it's used by buyers to assess the suppliers. So what it assesses, right? What is this assessment? It does mainly the assessment on four topics: environment, labor and human rights, ethics, and procurement. Sustainable procurement, or just procurement, right? So in a company or in any organization, if you look at any organization from a bird's eye view, right? So there is always a relationship with the company to the environment. And if there is this company, there are employees working in that organization, which means there are humans, there are laborers, depending on which level, like in tier one, tier two, tier three, level one, level two, level three. Depending on their designation, you have laborers and you also have humans there. So which means you also need rights in there. And also ethics, like every company, needs to follow certain ethics, right? Because, you can't do business unethically. You need to follow ethics. If your organization is located in Europe, so you need to follow all the EU laws and regulations. If it is within Netherlands, you need to follow the ethics and the policies and the compliances stated by the state, in this case, Netherlands, the regulations, ethics, right? And procurement. So how are you procuring it, right? How are you purchasing things? Like, what is your supply chain? How are you importing things? How is your how are your logistics, right? So how are you doing the procurement? So these are the four topics the EcoVadis is going to assess you if your organization is up for EcoVadis rating. So very important: environment, labor and human rights, ethics, and procurement. And why it matters? Because sustainability expectations are now a part of business decisions, like I mentioned. Because okay, I'm going to check for Spotlight. Okay, yeah. So sustainability expectations are now part of business decisions, the same way we discussed, because all these Nutri-Score ratings are part of day-to-day consumer life now, because high rating, good rating is good for your health. That's how people have change their mindset. That's how they're going to consume it. The same way, if someone wants to buy a bottle, for example, I have this water bottle here, right? And if I really want to buy this consumer product, like a commodity product or a water bottle, I also want to see how this water bottle has been manufactured, because I would like to buy a water bottle which was manufactured somewhere in the underdeveloped countries with miners being employed, right? So it's also very important what are the uh, rights they have, how they are doing this manufacturing. Okay, going to the next one. So what does EcoVadis cover? Again, we discussed environment, human rights, ethics, and procurement. And who does EcoVadis apply to? It applies to anyone who is interested to make their organization sustainability rated. For example, it is applicable for micro businesses, SMEs, and also big organizations. But the set of questionnaires, the set of questions they ask are humongous. So It makes no sense to go for little companies for EcoVadis rating. But if you think there is a need, if you think your stakeholders are expecting you or asking you for this kind of data, or they would like to know, they would like to be evaluated by EcoVadis organization. So then in that case, you can also go for this assessment, right? SMEs and large enterprises and the manufacturers and service providers and traders and companies assessed at a group, entity, and also a site level. Why does EcoVadis exist? We discussed because ESG commitments lacked consistency. Every country, every organization, every industry, they said like we're going to have a sustainability reporting, but then they followed their own style. Like everyone come up with their own methodology. They've come up with their own metrics. They've come up with their own framework. So it was very difficult for institutions and organizations, and especially investors and other end user stakeholders, to compare the ratings, because if you're following different frameworks, then how would you compare apple with oranges, right? Because you have to follow the same methodology across the country, across the world, if I have to speak. And only then the ratings are standard, the ratings are common, the ratings are consistent. So that rating lacked consistency, and buyers needed a common assessment framework, and supply chains required comparable sustainability data again. And EcoVadis enables, again, it enables what? It enables transparency, it enables benchmarking, it enables continuous improvement, right? It doesn't mean that if you've been rated as a bronze, it doesn't mean that you're going to stay there, right? Because then you're going to also come up with mitigation plans, so that how you can move from bronze to silver and then from silver to gold. Like, it is an iterative process where you improve your house. When I say house, I meant like an organization with your processes. Okay, just quickly checking. Yeah, and then core EcoVadis methodology. Yeah, so what is the methodology the EcoVadis is using in the background, right? EcoVadis evaluates sustainability using three pillars: policies, actions, and results. So what does it mean, policies? It means the guidelines, right? The commitments, the codes, because within the environment, within the human rights, within the ethics, there are different codes. So they have these policies they have uh, arranged, and then you have actions. So again, what kind of programs you're planning to initiate, right? Processes, and how you're going to implement that towards sustainability. For example, let's say you are in the manufacturing industry, and due to the manufacturing process, there is harm in the environment. Like, let's say there is an air pollution, right? Because you're emitting more and more gases out in the atmosphere, again, which is affecting the ozone layer, which is also increasing the CO2 emissions, which is impacting the people who are living nearby, for example. So in that case, what is your program to improve that? And what is your how are you going to implement to reduce that, right? These kinds of actions, and then results. You document everything, you set KPIs, you set targets, you again set the performance outcomes. So what EcoVadis evaluates: coverage of sustainability practices, implementation across operations, and it has to be measurable performance outcomes, and it's a 360-degree watch. What does 360-degree watch means? It's in, out, top. It's like complete 360 view of this company towards these four topics which we discussed. And the assessment is contextualized based on company size, which industry, which sector it belongs to, and the geographic exposure. Like I mentioned, EcoVadis is adapted worldwide, so it also depends. Like there are many industries, so they also try to compare your industry with the similar industry, and also the geographic situation as well, like in which location your organization is located and where you're doing your operations, right? So that assessment is also contextualized based on these three things. And what happens during this assessment, right? So what actually happens is, like for example, there are two parties involved: one, the company itself who would like to be evaluated, and the other one, the EcoVadis analyst. In this case, the platform. When you upload everything to the platform, someone from the platform, we call him analyst in this case, who would like to review and evaluate all the information which you have submitted. For example, You're going to fill in all these questionnaires which there are, and then you upload all the supporting documents needed to that. You demonstrate implementation across the operations by putting the mitigation plans and assessments and stuff like that. And you provide tons and tons of data. You're gonna send data on policies, actions, and results. The more, the better, right? So that the analyst has all this information and he starts doing the review and validating everything. It is matching with the information, or is it just greenwashing? So he also tries to check everything. Then he assesses the credibility and maturity, and he does this 360-degree screening. Okay, like I mentioned, main terms in EcoVadis, there is this scorecard at the end. Once you submit everything, there is this scorecard which is given to us, like score, right? The rating or the medal, you can call them. And then there is this 360-degree watch, and then CAP, corrective action plan, because set of recommended improvement actions are also generated after this assessment, so that companies can be these can be helpful for companies to cover the gap, right? And also to strengthen their sustainability management system. So first, what you do registration on the platform, right? If you want to do it by yourself, you can register on the platform, fill in the questionnaire, and submit all the documents, and the analyst reviews it, and then they do this 360-degree screening. That is their internal process, and then a scorecard is generated, and then you have this cap, corrective action plan, and then you try to improve this. So this is a continuous process. And if you try to do it by yourself, it could also be a cumbersome, right? Because it's quite complex, because there are so many topics you individual person might not know, because organization is a combination of many people. So each department might, you need to gather information from each department. So it is also a lengthy process, and of course you can also automate this, but you do it once a year or once 6 months, once quarter. How frequently you would like to be assessed is also something you can check as well. Again, if the performance is not good, what is going to happen? Of course, you're not going to get any fines or anything, at least not in EcoVadis, right? Because this is not a obligation, or it's not mandatory, but it is a rating which helps to increase the brand name of your organization based on your consumers, right? Because if your consumers are driven with sustainability mindset, they would like to purchase more and more if you're running your business sustainably and good for the environment. So it is directly proportional to the sales and how you would like to run the business, right? But it is not a compliance, or it is not an obligation, right? So you wouldn't get any penalties, but you would get less score, which means the score is already visible, which means people would already know that you're not really doing well in terms of sustainability, right? But it doesn't mean that it is not good, right? The reason that you already know where you stand in terms of sustainability rating, which means that will give you an opportunity to improve. And that is what is really important. It's not that you're really doing good in the sustainability from the beginning. No, because we also need to be practical, right? Because you started your organization, maybe you're not really following all the sustainable practices. It's fine, because you're not aware of it, because your intention, your perspective, your motivation was totally different in the beginning. Okay, so now company grew bigger and bigger, and now it is also having more and more impact and effect towards the environment, right? And you're also having more and more employees in the organization. I think this is the time to evaluate where you stand with respect of sustainability, get the rating, and then see the gap and have a corrective improvement plan, how we can improve it. Yeah, so this is how companies can use EcoVadis, right? Benchmarking, strengthening, and stuff like that. And okay, so I'm going to quickly also show you how we, Earth Mission, can also help you with EcoVadis. Yeah, okay, I can click on this. Oh, perfect. So as I mentioned that EcoVadis can also be done by yourself, right? Because at the end of the day, you are the person who knows better about your organization, because ins and outs about your company, the supply chain, the procurement, because you are the expert when it comes to your organization. The policies, the codes, the guidelines, the programs, each and everything about your organization, because you're working there in out, right? So at the end of the day, you should be the one who should provide all this information, not anyone else, right? When I say you, like dedicated team or a department related to this topic. But let's say that team doesn't have enough knowledge, or that team doesn't have enough time, right? So then you can also outsource this to a third party, for example, like us. So where we would come in and help you to gather all this information and act like a bridge between you and EcoVadis. At the end of the day, we have built an application which can simplify this process, and then that document or that data will again be sent to the EcoVadis platform. So it is like that. Okay. Yeah. So without any further ado, I'm going to quickly show you how this platform looks like. So we have this module called EcoVadis. You're just going to click on that. And here you can see the total progress. You always start with get started. Then you have some general information which you need to fill in. Okay. My camera is off. Okay. I'm back again. Yeah. So then you need to fill in that. And then you have environment, again, all the four topics which we discussed, right? Labor and human rights, ethics, and sustainable procurement. And you can also see the progress in here, which means like, before this demo, I was already doing a little bit of data ingestion to it or adding some questions to it. And at the end, you can find the scorecard and report. So we also do the same way of a calculation what the EcoVadis does, but at the end of the day, this is like a guesstimate score so that we already know it beforehand. But the actual score is something you get it from the EcoVadis platform. Okay, because even the EcoVadis is following a standard calculation methodology which we have adapted from them, so it is the same, right? But when it comes to reviewing the documents, that is also something we do it from our end as well so that we can help you. But then once we upload all this document, once we upload all this information and data to the EcoVadis platform, then you also have a second level of review. And then we can also see if there are any discrepancies between our scorecard and their scorecard. And we can also try to improve with coming corrective action plan. Yeah. So again, so this is not a replacement for EcoVadis, right? So this acts like a bridge where it simplifies and it helps you to fill in all the questionnaire because, like I said, if you don't have a dedicated team or if you're busy with other activities, so we are covered you on this topic. We can also coach you, guide you, and help you because we've got all this knowledge. So you always start with a get started. So this is where you fill in all the information, and then you can also see this EcoVadis reporting suggestions. You start with your company size, which sector, and following other codes. So then you have all these company codes, and then you need to fill in all this information, right? So this is very standard EcoVadis questionnaire, which is also available in the public domain, right? So you can also get it directly from the EcoVadis site or in the public domain. So it is available there. And then you fill in all this questionnaire. For example, this is a test data which I was adding to get a little bit of a idea. And then you can also see, like, for example, does your company formally and publicly endorse any external sustainability initiatives or sets of principles? For example, are you following, for example, science-based targets initiatives or a UNGC or any other external? Then, or if you don't endorse or if you just don't know, you can also just say that, and you need to upload relevant information or document if you're doing something. Yeah. So the similar way you fill in all these questions, starting with like, selecting all these values here, yes or no, and you can also select which team member is responsible within your organization because within our platform we also have this user management where you can onboard multiple employees from your company. Like I mentioned, because not a single person might have all the information related to these topics, right? So it must be spread across your organization into different departments. So you can also add the responsible person in here, and you can assign these things. So when they log in, so these set of questions will be only appearing to them, and then they can fill in all this information and upload the documents. So that is feasibility we also have here. And then finally, once you have all the information added in here, of course, it's a big set of questionnaires, right? Because in this case, I've just mentioned everything no, but for example, if you try to select everything yes, then you have a big set of questions coming in there related to all these codes. And then a final score is evaluated based on all that. Okay, so if I can quickly check what would be the, okay, so based on the information which I have uploaded, because not all the information has been added. For example, here you can see For the environment, I was able to give it the data. For labor and human rights, I was able to give it. But for ethics and procurement, there are no more medals because the data, I didn't really upload fully the documents, right? So that's why the score is really low in these two topics. It could also be the scenario because you might just select, like, let's say you're doing really good with the environment, but you're not doing really good with the procurement. Then the score on the procurement is also low, which means the overall score would be also affected with that. In that case, you need to come up with action plan where you can improve the procurement, right? Yeah, so this is how you see your total score. So, and the similar thing you can also find in the EcoVadis platform. And then you can also find the view full scorecard and EcoVadis unofficial report. Let's also quickly check them. For example, the final full score. So this is where you can also see for each topic, we've also added the weightage, right? For each topic, how the score has been calculated, whether the evidence provided, yes or no, whether it's a policy or the title and the question ID and the KPI, like how we implemented that, and then the weightage of the score, right? So based on this, the calculation has been done. So it's all transparent because then it's also very important how the transparency is working in the application. So the similar thing is also for sustainable procurement and the overall score, you can see that. So based on these sheets and based on these individual scores, the overall score has been calculated. And then if you look at this unofficial report, which is also there in here. So what does this say? So this also gives you the link to the document and links for all the documents which you have attached. There is also a link to the document if you want to refer to it, or you can also share this document or this information to them. Then there are also links as well. Yeah. So yeah, I think in a nutshell, that is all about EcoVadis. But one key takeaway is for you to understand if you're really new to EcoVadis, it is actually a sustainability rating platform which focuses mainly on environment, labor and human rights, ethics, and sustainable procurement. Yeah. So if you're an organization who are really interested in understanding more about EcoVadis, or you want to really get onboarded with EcoVadis, you would like to be rated, you would like to have your platform to be rated. So we can always connect. Please send me a message, or you can reach out to my team, Earth Emission, anyone from our team, and then we can quickly set up a call and we can help you. And right now we are also providing free platform credits for our Earth Emission. So if you would like to also get onboarded with our Earth Emission platform completely for free, please also reach out to me. We can also help you to onboard with that so that you can try out our application, use our application to build your reports like EcoVadis, EUTR, CBAM, or CSRD, or VSME, modules like that, and give your valuable feedback, because that is invaluable for us, because that's what we're really looking for, and how we can improve the system. So thank you so much, one and all. And yeah, so see you again in the next session with another topic. Until then, take care and have a nice day. Cheers.